Hey guys, welcome. Real quick before the video starts, I want to mention the fact that this is a new thing I'm trying. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. It's called Slasher Sunday, and obviously what I'm going to do is recommend a slasher film to you from any decade at any point in time ever. That's all. So let me know if this is a good idea, and I hope you enjoy the video. On today's episode of Slasher Sunday, I want to tell you about a little ditty from 1981 called The Prowler. It was directed by Joseph Zito, who 2 years later would go on to direct another little ditty called Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Ever hear of it? It's the best film in the series, and anyone who tells you different is wrong. Period. So why is The Prowler my first choice? Well, if you've seen it, it's pretty clear why I'm sitting here hawking it at you, but if you haven't seen it, let me just say it's a little light on everything. Story, and by story I mean there is no story at all. I guess if you count the beginning, but you know what? Let me back up and explain this from the start. So this movie starts off with some 1940s newsreel footage. First time I saw this, I thought I was watching the wrong movie. Not a great start. Then it's explained through a voiceover that some girl at some college is writing a letter saying she doesn't want to wait around for her boyfriend to come back from war, so she goes and goddamn cheats on him, but then he comes back and decides to kill them both. That's it. Then it cuts to now. Well, not now, but then now. 1980. It's the same college, except now it's a bunch of 80s chicks with bad hairdos walking around. There's a creepy police deputy obviously staring at them in broad daylight with a disturbing grin on his face, but it's the 80s, so it's not weird, I guess. Then for some reason later, the movie needs to let us know the sheriff is going out of town for his annual fishing trip. Why do we care? We don't. But it's obviously setting up for later when the fecal matter protrudes from the anus of Lady Horror at an alarmingly slow rate, and the one police officer who can help is trying to catch a tuna. This scene also produces the resident crazy character that has inside information about the plot, but is never allowed to relay it until the time is just right. But not right before some ass sauce prevents him from spoiling the plot that only affects the audience. More on that later. So later, like 2 unnecessary scenes later, we get our first POV shot of who you obviously assume is the killer stalking somebody. No setup, just straight into the shit. I like that. Sort of. Anyway, long story short, literally, long story short, bang, bam, boom, people die over and over. It's very gruesome and bloody and actually downright horrifying sometimes. I mean, this guy with the eyes, Jesus Cristo, am I right? And fucking this girl with the, well actually, while it's obviously implied what's happening, it's cut in a certain way that you don't actually see any cutting of the throat, so it just kind of looks like he's jabbed her in the neck and is trying to unstick his weapon like the clumsy killer he is. I bet if you redubbed this scene with some funny music... Yep. So anyway, at this point, you're supposed to be under the impression that the killer is the dude from the 1940s coming back to kill again. Couple things wrong with that. Now, assuming he was at least 20-something in the 40s, that would put him in, what, his 60s in the 80s? A 60-year-old angry war vet is going around whacking teens. And that's another thing. Why? Why is this happening? What does this man have against these girls? Is it because it's the same college? You know what the reason is? I don't, because the movie doesn't fucking tell you. Yeah, oh yeah, no, that's right. The movie doesn't explain to you at any point why these teens are getting killed. Anyway, later, after everyone is dead, we come across the proverbial final girl chase scene. By the way, that looks a little familiar, doesn't it? And hey, look who shows up! The crazy guy with all the plot information saves the day, thank God. Maybe now we'll get some answers to the... Okay, great, never mind. Now comes time for the unmasking of the killer. Now here's where I'm conflicted, because you see, if I'm recommending this movie to you, why would I deliberately spoil the ending? This could go 2 ways. One, if you're like me, it's a slasher film and you're not that invested in the plot anyway to begin with, you're just there for the kills. Or 2, the ending is so goddamn absurd that it must be shown and talked about. Listen, if you're into the idea of this movie and actually want to see it, then stop watching right now. I'm gonna call this section of the video the spoiler section, okay? For obvious reasons. Which in the case of The Prowler, there's only one spoiler. But if you don't care and want to see what I'm talking about, keep watching. Okay, hopefully those who want to steer clear of this massive spoiler / ridiculous sloppy writing plot point are gone. So, who's the killer? That's right, the goddamn sheriff who's supposed to be on the fishing trip. What? Why? The answers to your questions will not be answered because he forces her to shoot himself and then it just fades to black and that's it. That's cool. Okay, thanks movie for being a thing that I watched completely unaware of what was going on from start to finish. But, you know, the kills were cool. What the fuck? But no, seriously, The Prowler is one of the best slasher films ever made, specifically for the kills. Do not interest yourself in this movie for the story. Go in for the death and the blood and the gore. Then, and only then, will you not be disappointed. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if this is something you want to keep seeing. If not, no worries. I had fun making it either way. So, again, thank you for watching, and leave the light on when you go.